väntat under stenen bakom trädet bredvid huset.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Stop sharing. Okej. Det blir lite svengelska. Varmt välkommen till detta webinar med oss på Tjejer Kodar. Mitt namn är Rebecca. Jag jobbar här med community och event på Tjejer Kodar. Och idag har vi ju höstens första Fatta tech-frukost tillsammans. Och det är med Technigo. Och det är ju vår systerorganisation. Det är kanske många som undrar vad vår connection är med varandra. Och det är ju att grundarna från Tjejer Kodar har också skapat programmeringsskolan Technigo. Och lite kort om det här Zoom-webbinariet då. Det är för det första så syns ni inte och ni hörs inte. Så sitter ni i er pyjamas någonstans eller dricker kaffe och sådär. Så gör det. Det är ingen som ser det. Och ni får jättegärna använda chatten till att skriva till oss. Ni får jättegärna prova den nu till exempel. Så jag ser att ni är här. Emma skriver att hon känner sig träffad. Ja, jag förstår dig. Jag också. Hej, god morgon. Nu skriver ni. Ja, och jag kan se att vissa av er skriver till, man kan välja till host, panelist eller everyone. Och ni får jättegärna skriva till everyone för då ser ju alla det. Och då blir det lite trevligare. Då känner man sig lite mindre ensam. För vi sitter ju där själva framför skärmen men ni är absolut inte själva denna morgon. Morgon. God morgon allihopa. Härligt! Det är jättekul. Men lite kort, det är inte jag som ska stå i centrum här. Det är Matilda Maximilian från Technigo och vi startar nu om några sekunder. Vi håller på fram till 8:30 och från 8:30 till 8:40 kommer jag in i rutan igen och då har vi en kort 10 minuters frågestund. Och den här frågestunden, då skriver ni i den här så kallade Q&A-funktionen. Den är nere någonstans. Jag brukar gilla att peka mitt finger. Sen vet jag inte hur hjälpsamt det är. Men det står Q&A. Skriv där om ni har frågor. Där kan ni också välja att skriva anonymt. Så det är väl det tänker jag. Vad tror du? So let's switch into English. Matilda and Maximilian, welcome to this morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Good. It's a little bit early in the morning for me.
Yes.
I've had my breakfast, so I'm okay.
You're ready to go.
I think so.
Yeah. But quick about you guys.
Yes, maybe we should also present ourselves. I work as a code coach and front-end developer at Technigo. I went to the Technigo bootcamp. I started 2 years ago, I think. Yeah. And now I work as a front-end developer and code coach at Technigo. And it's super fun. And I'm working with Maximilian.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maximilian Olszewski. I'm also working at Technigo. I'm a code coach. I attended different bootcamp 6 years ago. But we work all together alongside with Matilda and Becky. And today we are going to have some nice presentation for you.
Learn to mob program. Yes, and that's something that the students do in the bootcamp and people do in the tech world.
Yeah.
Often.
Exactly.
Definitely. Let's kick the presentation going.
Yeah.
That was also a little bit Swinglish. I'm sorry if some of the things I say today will be Swinglish. You'll have to just accept that.
Swedish is loud.
Okay. I'll share my screen. And you are already recording, Rebecca, right?
Yes, I'm recording, so you can see this afterwards.
Great. I'm not sure that I will see the chat now when I'm presenting my presentation. So please stop me if something is unclear, if you see something in the chat or in the Q&A, Rebecca.
I'll guide you, I swear.
Super duper. Okay. Now you can see the blue screen, right? With more programming.
Yes, looks good.
Great. So, first of all, what we will go through today is what is Mobprogramming and some benefits of Mobprogramming. And we will talk you through some guidelines on how to Mobprogram in general and also how to do it remote, because it's a little bit different when we're not in the same room. And in the end, we will also show you how to get started. And Maximilian and I will try out some Mobprogramming or pair programming live. So what is Mobprogramming? It's an approach of teamwork, of working together. So the idea is that the whole team works on the same thing at the same time and at the same computer. But remote, we will, of course, have different computers, but the keynote is that only one person writes at a time. So Mobprogramming is when 3 or more developers code together on one keyboard. And as I said, remotely, we will have several keyboards, but only one person is active at the keyboard at one specific time. So the key is that only one person writes at a time. And if you're 2 people doing this, it's called pair programming, but it's the same concept, only that a mob is more people and pair is 2 people. So we have one driver, which is the person writing, and the driver focuses only on writing. And the rest of the people are navigators. And they will discuss and describe what the driver should write. So the driver should only just type, and the navigators should tell the driver what to write. And why Mobprogramming? It's one opportunity to get to know your team better. When you're interacting with people, you get to know them much better than if all of you were working on different tasks individually. And teams that work well together perform better. So you could almost see it like a team building exercise in itself. It's also great for spreading knowledge. As Rebecca were onto, Mobprogramming and pair programming is a big part of the Technigo bootcamp as well, because it's especially good in a learning atmosphere where many people can share knowledge at the same time, so you can discuss different solutions and learn together. But it's also a common approach in the industry. And it's popular when onboarding a new person to a team or when you're building something where multiple people need to be involved in the foundation of a project, for example. And the spread of knowledge can involve how to debug effectively or something as simple as a keyboard shortcut, because you can often see the other person typing like, how did you do that so fast? I have a keyboard shortcut, so you can learn all sorts of stuff. And another advantage is that you write better and faster code. 2 or 3 pair of eyes are better than 1. So in a mob, you will spend less time stuck, which is great. And when you're working alone, you might come up with a solution and just go with it. But when you work in a mob, you sometimes need to consider different options and discuss and really explain why you think that one solution is better than another, maybe. And together decide in the mob which one you will think work the best. And you all get to know the infrastructure, the code base better. You get a better understanding of the code base. And you will be following the same code guidelines. So everybody will be typing code in a similar way. And for this to work successfully, we have some rules or some guidelines to follow. So Maximilian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, as Matilda said, we have a couple of very important rules when it comes to mob programming. The first one is about the idea of dividing our team into the driver and navigators. So let's have an example. We have a team which consists of 4 developers, and we want to build some functionality all together. It would be cumbersome if all of the developers tried to write code at the same time. I mean, it leads to chaos. Everyone wants to write something. We might duplicate ourselves. It's not the best idea. Over here, we can take advantage of the first rule of mob programming, which is about dividing our team. So we have the driver, who is actually the only person who is typing. Like, driver has the keyboard. That's the rule. And the rest of the team are navigators. And navigators are actually those developers that think about what to write. So the driver is only responsible for typing on the keyboard. The driver is not actively thinking about what should be written. The driver is just listening about what to write. The rest of the team is thinking about what should be written. And that leads us to the second rule of mob programming, which is timed rotation. Obviously, we have to change our roles with time. So everyone is a driver at some time during the process of development, and everyone is a navigator. Yeah. And it's a delicate subject about what should be the pacing in the timed rotation. It really depends. It depends on the size of the team. It also depends on the complexity of the task that we need to achieve. In general, the default rule is that the roles should be switched around every 5 minutes, something like this. We also have the third rule. The third rule is about that everyone understands what's happening. It's very important because it's easy, especially in the navigators group, to somehow remain silent. I mean, you can observe the other navigators talking, discussing, but there are many reasons why you wouldn't feel kind of, I'm not really needed over here. I don't really understand the step that we are currently in. It's super important. So we communicate with each other constantly, and we pay attention that everyone knows what we are doing. And there is also a fourth rule, the last rule, which is kind of connected to the third one. And I believe it's the most important. It's about treating each other with kindness and respect. There is something we refer to often. It's called Impostor Syndrome. It's very easy, especially for junior developers, to kind of feel, once again, not really competent or not really needed in the team. So we really need to pay extra attention to show that everyone in the team is equal and that the team is inclusive on its own. Yep, those are the rules. And over here we have a nice presentation of the more or less impostor syndrome. Yeah, it really defines why we need to pay attention. Yeah, right now you might ask yourself how to mob program remotely. I mean, what's the practical implementation? We actually have two options. So the first one is about using Visual Studio Code, which is a code editor that we are using, for example, in Technigo Bootcamp. All of the students and code coaches are using Visual Studio Code editor. And what's great about Visual Studio Code is that you can build some functionalities on top of the basic editor. You can add extensions basically to it. You can add some sort of plugins that are free. One of them is LiveShare extension. What it does actually is that it kind of shares your editor and the code you have in your editor at this moment. So you can send the link to your editor and people remotely can connect to the same code you are editing. So all of you can collaborate on the same code. That's one alternative. Of course, there is yet another one, which is about sitting in the exact same room, and we just have one keyboard. It's easy. But yet another one is Code Sandbox. Code Sandbox is just an editor inside the browser. So we have a website on which we have some code, and it's as easy. You just share the link to the website and many people can collaborate. And that's actually the approach we are going to take with Matilda. We are going to build a small, simple counter app application right now using Code Sandbox.
Yes, let's try it out.
Mm-hmm.
While we are doing this, let me just find the chat and post the link to Code Sandbox. It's really easy to start with Code Sandbox. You can log in either if you have a GitHub account, or you could log in with your Gmail account. So it's really easy to get started. But as Maximilian said, we are going to create a little counter app. So I'm already logged in. So I will just create a sandbox and I will choose vanilla JavaScript. And I will click this button down here that says live. And then I will just copy this link and send it to Maximilian.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And I also need to change the live mode here from classroom mode to everyone can edit, so that Maximilian also can edit.
Super.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Super. All right. So we need to decide who is going to be the driver and who is going to be the navigator right now. So I suggest that maybe for the first iteration, you can be the driver, Matilda, and I will be the navigator. And yeah, we are then going to do some coding.
Yes. So what should I do?
All right. So maybe at the beginning, Code Sandbox comes with some predefined code at the beginning, so maybe let's clean it a little bit. I mean, index.js file, we can clear everything that is written over here. We don't need it. Super. And let's also proceed to index.html file. And index.html file. Let's also delete some things and change something. Let's start from deleting line number 10 with div with ID up. We won't need it. Maybe let's also change the title of our project from Parcel Sandbox to Counter App. Super. And well, the first thing, our Counter App is going to be fairly simple. What we need to have is the heading in which we are going to display current number. So maybe let's build a heading, current number, exactly. And let's maybe write the default number. I mean, we can start from 0, and maybe let's wrap the number itself, so the 0, within another tag, maybe a span tag. Thanks to that, we will be able to somehow inject new value later on to that span. But the very, very last thing is that maybe we can also add an ID to our span, so it's easier to reach for it in JavaScript. Super.
Okay, should we switch?
I think so.
Okay, so as we said, we want to create a counter app that we can count with. So we need some buttons to hook up with the logic. So I suggest you create 2 buttons, one plus button and one minus button.
Okay.
And then in order to be able to hook them up to the JavaScript so that we can write some rules for what should happen when we click them, we need to give these buttons IDs as well.
Okay. I guess plus is a good name for the plus button.
That sounds like a good idea.
Super. All right.
Okay, let's move into the JavaScript file. I think we have all that we need in the HTML file now.
I think so as well. Yeah.
So let's move into the JavaScript file.
Yep.
And let's create some DOM selectors for these elements that we just created in the HTML.
Okay.
So let's create some variables and use document get element by ID to get them from the HTML.
All right. So I guess we need the number. And the buttons. So plus, that's going to be the reference to plus button, and minus, which is going to be a reference to minus button. All right.
Nice.
So do we switch once again?
Yeah, we forgot to set the timer, so we have to keep track of the time ourselves. We didn't take our advice, but yes, let's switch.
Maybe we can build an app that is a timer.
Next time.
Yeah, super. All right. So I guess what we can do right now is to kind of build a logic for our buttons. We already have a structure, HTML structure. We have the heading, we have buttons. We have written the variables that we need. So I guess what we need to do right now is to somehow detect the moment when a user is actually interacting with the buttons. So I guess some event listeners for our buttons will be okay. Maybe let's start from the plus button. We are going to build the logic for plus button first. Exactly, we need to react on click. And what should we do over here? We should actually keep track of the number in some way and increase it by 1 when we click the button. So for that, we actually need to create yet another variable. This time it's going to be a let variable because we are going to change the value of it. Let counter, exactly, and let's initialize it as 0. And I guess the better place to initialize it will be in global scope, so above the event listener. Great. And I guess in the event listener itself, we can just increase the value of it. Yeah, exactly. There is yet another thing that we can improve. We have a more compact syntax when it comes to increasing the number by 1. Instead of writing counter is equal to counter plus 1, we can just write counter plus equals 1, and the result will be exactly the same. Yeah, super.
Like that?
Like that, super. And there is only one thing that we need to do. We actually need to inject the counter value to the HTML back again. So we can actually inject it to the number variable. Yep. And is equal counter, super. Yet another improvement that we could do over here is changing the method. Inner HTML is a great method, and it's actually going to work. Nonetheless, we are not really injecting HTML per se to our HTML file. We are rather injecting a number. So we can use a method inner text, which does almost the same, but is more semantic in this case. All right, cool.
Nice.
That's right.
Maybe I need to refresh.
Yeah, sometimes we need to refresh.
Yeah,
Ah,
it's working.
great, super.
Okay, let's switch again. And let's do the same for the minus button. So add an event listener to the minus button. And then I guess we could write the same logic, but with a minus. So counter minus equals 1. And then inject it to the HTML with inner text as well.
Right. Let's test it.
Yeah, it is working. Although now we allow for the app to display negative values. Maybe we don't want that. Maybe we want it to stop at 0.
Yes, I don't think so, Matilda. We don't want negative numbers. Let's do something about that. Okay,
let's add a conditional to check if the counter is already 0, it should stay 0. So if you stand on line 13 like that, and then write if the counter is 0.
If the counter 0, all right.
Then the counter should stay 0.
All right.
And else, so if it's not 0, then we should have this decreasing or decrement logic.
Great idea. All right. Maybe.
Okay, let's try it again. I'll refresh. And now I can't go past 0. So now it looks good.
Ooh, super. Great.
Nice job, Maximilian.
Nice job, Matilda.
Great teamwork.
Super.
Okay, just for fun, to see for you how easy it is to join a live session. If you have a Gmail account, you can just go into this link that I sent in the chat now. So just log in with your Gmail account if you have one, and just go into the HTML and write your name if you want to.
Of course you want to.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Get in there. I'm gonna get in there too. It can be a little bit slow at times, right? Let's see. Annie is writing that she has to leave, but she's very grateful for this morning. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Annie.
Get the recording.
Okay, we have Jessie is here.
All right.
And Rebecca is here.
Rebecca. All right.
Oh, we have somebody else. Emma. Oh, people are coming in.
Is it now we're gonna destroy this?
No.
Nej.
Okay, you can destroy it if you want to, but you know how to write a paragraph tag. So you will not destroy it, Rebecca.
Nej. Keep inside of the body, right?
Yes, we don't want an outer body experience.
Katang. We did this joke yesterday.
It was a good joke by Rebecca.
It is a good dad joke.
Yeah.
Hi from Emma.
And hi from Veronica. Okay, so as you see, it's quite easy to, as long as you have a Gmail account or a GitHub account, it's quite easy to just join a session. The only thing you have to remember, if you're the one starting the session, you need to edit the live mode so that everyone can edit. Oh, now people are dropping in. I like it. And then you just share the link with the person or the people that you would like to code together with. And it works basically the same as Google Docs, so you can edit at the same time, as you see, which is really nice. Nadia can't get into Sandbox. I'm sorry about that, but try, either you can create a user or you can log in with GitHub or Gmail. Oh, now it works. Perfect. I think you can also create a new user. If you don't have GitHub or Gmail, you can create a Sandbox user. So it's quite easy to get started and just code together. So just go find a code buddy or a team to code with, and just get started.
Yeah, like if you're not in our Slack community, then you have to join us. I just send the link here, and there you can find fellow coders, beginners, seniors, whatever, to do some mob programming and project, or talk about mob programming in general, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Let's leave some room for questions. I just want to recap really quickly what we have gone through today. But meanwhile, you can ask questions in the chat or in the Q&A. I see we have one question already, but I'm just gonna share this last slide, and then we'll make room for questions. Okay, so takeaways from today. We learned that mob programming is a software development approach where the whole team works on the same thing at the same computer. And it's good for team building and knowledge sharing and for writing better code. And how we do it is one is the driver and the rest are navigators. Or if you are two people in pair program, you just switch roles between driver and navigator. And you have timed rotations, so the rotation should be quick, and there should be room for discussion and questions, and treat each other with respect, but that goes without saying. And remotely you can do it either with Visual Studio Code or with Code Sandbox, as we did now. And then we wanted to say something short about the bootcamp, because a big part of the bootcamp is working together in teams, and mob programming is a big part of that. Do you want to add something, Rebecca?
Yeah, I mean, the bootcamp is 24 weeks, and the application starts now, the September 20th. It's next week, right? It's crazy. So you have to send in a code challenge. It's like a small test in HTML and CSS, I think. And there's a written application. And you can read all about it at technigo.io/program. We will send out the links with the recordings afterwards. And the bootcamp is for total beginners. Like even if they haven't touched the keyboard. Okay, maybe not, but they haven't
Maybe one time
programmed.
touch the keyboard.
It's good if you have a computer.
That's a good start.
Yeah, so but if you didn't, for instance, get the code that Matilda and Maximilian did today, that's totally fine because that's something that you learn. And yeah, so check it out. They also have an Instagram with fun things happening all the time. And yeah, that's it. Let's kick the questions. So basically, ask in the Q&A. I can see that we have at least 3 questions. I have questions before that. Because I noticed I don't want people to think that, this is so easy. Maxi and Matilda did this so smooth. No problems, no Googling, no nothing. Is it really like that?
Not always. It's a lot of Googling in the daily life. Definitely.
But if you do this like a mob programming together, and what was the name of this, or what is this function? Like, can you stop and Google together, or?
Yes. You know, Rebecca, a lot depends on the team, and definitely we should stop from time to time to Google to look for some informations. When we are doing the mob programming in bigger team, there is a bigger possibility in the package that someone will have that needed information. If not, it's always a great idea to Google, to look for information. That's our occupation. I mean, our work consists of constant searching for information, and it's actually the most important skills to know how to formulate a question, to know where to look for the answer. That's very important.
Great, now we know, and you also have practiced before, so
yeah.
Yes. We had a dry run. Okay.
No. So too much. All right, let's see the questions. All right, we have like a technical question here. How do you handle inconsistency, like single/double quotation, semicolon or not in the end, semicolon or not in the end, etc.?
That's a good question. I know, as you maybe noticed, Maximilian uses semicolons and I do not. But in Maximilian's favor, Code Sandbox also likes semicolons. So whenever I forget to insert one, whenever I save, it will just add it again. So there are a lot of auto formatters that you could use if you want to use semicolons, or maybe you noticed that we also we went for the single quotes, but Code Sandbox likes double quotes, so it just changes that. So you can set up an auto formatter to take care of that for you, because sometimes maybe you switch, especially when you are mob programming or pair programming, even though you have like a style guide that you should follow. It's easy because like sometimes people have different preferences, and maybe I use one thing and Maximilian uses another. But then if we have an auto formatter, it will just fix those inconsistencies for us. So that's my biggest advice for inconsistencies in the code.
Very good. Okay, we jump over directly to the next question. All right. It is hard to not talk as a driver at the beginning. Do you have some tips how to improve it?
Practice it, I guess. It's really important. Once again, let me point out that team is everything. I mean, if it's hard for you not to talk as a driver, and I believe it is at the beginning, because it's kind of unnatural, right? We need to collaborate in the work that we do together. Other members, the navigators, the people that have the navigator part in that exact iteration that we are talking about, can also remind you that Mr. Driver, Mrs. Driver, if you are driving right now, please do not talk. You are responsible for writing the code. You have your own very important responsibilities right now to write the code. Your turn to actively collaborate in the process of planning what to write will be in the next iteration. I would say something like this. You can also use a duct tape, like, to cover your mouth, but it's better to practice the roles.
I mean, it's not easy. Like, besides the coding part, it's also like this working together part. And Jessica wrote, okay, when you are a new team and beginners, it's quite hard to keep track of everyone's understanding before moving on. Rule number 3, as you said, it is easy to just sit quiet, and of course it is everyone's responsibility. Can't speak. Everyone's responsibility, but anyway, do you have any tips and tricks on how to keep track of that? Did you get that long question?
Yeah, I got it. It's a good question. And I realize, like, I understand that it can be tough in the beginning. I would say that like everyone, like, you are responsible for telling the others if you don't understand, but it should also be the whole group's responsibility to make sure that everyone understands. So if a person sits quiet or like sits in a corner and doesn't speak for a while, even though that person should be one of the navigators, then it's also the rest of the group's responsibility to check in with that person. That's like, I don't have any handfast tips. I don't know the English word for that. I don't have anything more concrete than that, other than it should be everyone's responsibility that everyone is following. Do you have any concrete tips for that, Maximilian?
I think you said something very important, Matilda. It's crucial that all of the team members are aware of the environment and colleagues. I mean, constantly we have to be active. If you are not an active member of a mob programming approach, then mob programming is not going to work. There are some principles that we have to remember about, and being active, whatever that means, is very important. And being active means also observing whether everyone is also active. Exactly.
So the teamwork is the most important thing, to see every member. Yes. And don't say sorry for long questions. We love long questions. I'm just having a hard time to pronounce them. Thank you, Jessica, for your question. And yeah, I hope you got your answer. And I can also see that the time is 08:43. That means that we have gone over by 3 minutes. So we have to wrap this up. Do you have some final words, Maxi and Matilda?
Thank you very much for I hope it was valuable meeting for all of you, and I really hope we can see each other on the next edition of Technigo Bootcamp.
Starting spring 2022. So yeah, thank you guys. So nice to hang out with you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Just want to go mob programming now. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, try it out.
Yes.
It's for fun.
Like it doesn't matter on what level, you can try it. Everyone says, thank you guys. Have a great morning and day now. You had the best start, right? Bye.
I need to switch from my pajamas. Don't tell me.
They haven't started yet.
Have a great day, everyone.
Great day. Thank you.
Thank you.